Hi, I'm Todd Wente, and this is the Daily 180. 180 seconds of motivation and inspiration intended to help you take action and make progress in your life. Today we're going to be continuing a series of talking about C words. This is episode 273, and I wanted to expand our C words to include a word that can be used as both a noun and as a verb. This first episode, we're going to talk about it as a verb, and that word is cast. You know, a while back, I got an opportunity to talk to a friend of mine who was an avid fly fisherman. Now, I grew up in Minnesota where there's lots of lakes and lots of streams, and so I learned how to lake fish. And lake fishing is kind of interesting. Lake fishing is basically, one of my friends describes lake fishing as drowning a worm while you take a nap on the side of the on the side of the beach or the side of the dock. And he may be absolutely right, because that's what we would do. We would get worms, we'd put them on the end of the hook, we drop them in, we put a bobber on there, and we watch the bobber. And if the bobber moved, you just reel it back in and see what you can see. For a while, I learned how to stream fish in the streams of Utah, but I did that with a spinner, and you would cast it in, and then you would reel it as you would move from hole to hole. And you could only do it once or twice, maybe 3 times, to find out whether or not the fish were interested. And if they weren't interested, you just had to move on because there was nothing else to it. But my friend who was a fly fisherman, he said, no, he says, all of those are great. He said, but fly fishing is where it's really happening. He said, because in fly fishing, it's all about the cast. Now, this was about the same time that a movie called A River Runs Through It was coming out. And so there was a lot of time spent trying to figure out what this fly fishing, this casting thing was all about. Basically, the idea with the cast is that you put your fly out so that it just barely touches the water, and then you pull it back, as though it is flying through the air and then moving away so that the fish will come up and grab it. So what does this have to do with success? You know, sometimes we need to keep putting ourselves out there. It's really easy sometimes to become a little bit discouraged. I've faced that many times in my own life. It's really easy to look at things and say, well, if it hasn't happened now, it's not going to happen at all. If it hasn't happened with this set of circumstances, it's not going to happen at all. If it hasn't happened for me by now, it's never going to happen at all. But the reality is that, like with fly fishing, it's all about putting it out there one more time. And instead of thinking about things and saying, gee, if it hasn't happened for me now, it won't ever happen for me at all, we need to change our thinking to, if it hasn't happened for me yet, maybe it'll happen on the next cast. I hope this works for you. I hope this helps you with your efforts that you're putting into life. If it does, give us a thumbs up, give us a share, or hey, subscribe. We'd love to have you come with us for the rest of the journey. In the meantime, my name is Todd Wente. This has been the Daily 180. Go forth and conquer. We'll see you next time.